Hey y'all, it's Jennifer. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm coming to you with a reading vlog. It has been a very slow day for me. I really had a lot of plans today in terms of getting things filmed, pre-filming some things. I've been in like a filming haze the past few weeks, and I've been really proud of the content that I've been making. I've been really excited about the books that I've been reading. But last week I finished a book that was so good. It essentially put me into a reading slump, and this whole week I have felt off. Sometimes when I'm not reading, I just really feel like that kind of affects my mood when I'm not doing something kind of positive for my mental health in terms of my hobbies, because I also didn't really craft this past week. So I think I was just kind of feeling like in a liminal space a little bit. I decided, since I was feeling really low energy today, that I really just wanted to spend some time reading, relaxing. I told myself, just sit down and read, watch your K-drama, do your night skincare routine, and just sit down and relax. And so that is basically what I have done today. And I was waiting to start the vlog to give like an actual update on what I'm reading. I've had so many thoughts over the week that I really just want to like do a themed reading vlog, but I wasn't really sure if I wanted to commit to a theme. And so one of the videos that I was working on this week was my TBR for Dark Academia. And so I am actually reading a book for that, and I really committed to that today, and that is All's Well by Mona Awad. And I am about 25% of the way through this, and I am thoroughly enjoying it. I actually feel like this has contributed to my mood being kind of down. I felt kind of down today, and I really think this book was really probably not the ideal to be reading because it has dealt with some really heavy topics. So this is about a theater instructor at a college, and she's basically a down on her luck theater instructor. The theater program has no money, and she is trying to put on a production of All's Well That Ends Well, which I'll be honest with you, I had totally and utterly gotten that confused with Much Ado About Nothing, because when I went into this, I thought, oh, I love this play. Like, this is one of the only comedies of his I've ever enjoyed. And then the students started talking about the fact that it's not a tragedy and not a comedy. And I realized that I must have had things confused because Much Ado About Nothing is straight up a comedy. So I don't actually think I've read All's Well That Ends Well. I have it on my shelf. So maybe I'll get it off and read it, because I think it would be interesting to get context for what's going on. But really the main through line of this story is that our main character is kind of unhinged, unstable, let's say, and it's for very valid reasons. She deals with chronic pain. She's somebody who was on the stage at one time, who was an actor, and she apparently fell off the stage during a performance, and that like injured her leg, and she had a surgery that actually impacted the injury more, made the injury worse. And so now she deals with a really heavy amount of chronic pain. And the entire theme of the book is just how many people firmly believe that she could get better if she wanted to. If she just put her mind to it, she could get better. And so a lot of the characters around her and even her doctors believe that she is in pain because she chooses to be, which is one of the most outrageous things to have to read. I know this is something that a lot of people have dealt with, and specifically women have dealt with in healthcare, but it's absolutely enraging to read. And so basically at this point, to me, anything this woman does, I kind of think it's good for her. You know, that's where I'm at right now. But she has like envisioned people's murders, so I actually don't know the theme of where this is going. And before getting into this, before actually reading this, I didn't know that it was in any way, shape, or form actually connected to Dark Academia. I didn't know that that was the plot line of the book. So I'm kind of excited by that. I'm excited to see where this goes, because she's really in favor of All's Well That Ends Well, and all of the students are very much like, no, we'd rather do Macbeth. Like, we just want to do something exciting. And so I feel like to better understand this, I probably should read All's Well That Ends Well. Maybe I'll do that. I don't think it's that long of a play, so maybe I'll sink my teeth into that. But I also wanted to throw another book into the mix because I just like to be unhinged myself. Because I was feeling so uninspired earlier this week, and I just in general have felt this way the past couple of weeks, ever since I put up my bookshelves, it's weird. Now that I feel like there is a true visual representation of my physical TBR, like basically all in one place. Some books are still scattered elsewhere while I fix up the shelves, But honestly, when I saw all of this over here, it's off camera to you, I just wasn't feeling that inspired by a lot of things, you know? It feels like even though I know a lot of the books on my TBR are current, it just felt like I don't have anything new and fresh and stuff that people are generally talking about. So I actually did something that I swore to myself I would never do. I got onto Book Talk, the bookish side of TikTok. I swore to myself TikTok was only going to be a safe space for me. It wasn't going to have anything to do with books, but unfortunately, I broke down yesterday and I am now on Dark Academia Book Talk. And frankly, it's a great place to be. For the most part, I feel like all of the recommendations I've received through TikTok have been books that are already either on my radar or they are books that I have already read, not necessarily just in terms of Dark Academia, but just in general. I have gotten a few great recommendations from there over the years, frankly, but for the most part, recently, they have only recommended me things that I've already heard of. But I got a TikTok today that was about like pretentious girlies going into the fall. And this is what they're reading. These are the books they're always talking about. And it was stuff like The Secret History and Interview with the Vampire. And I said, okay, say less. Don't call me out like that, okay? I am a pretentious girly going into the fall. And one of the books recommended is actually one that I haven't read, which is Lapvona by Ottessa Moshfegh, which has been on my radar, but I only own one book by Ottessa Moshfegh currently. It is her biggest novel, her most famous, My Year of Rest and Relaxation. And I feel like before I commit to Lapvona, I should probably give this one a try because it's already on my TBR shelf. So this is kind of unintentionally an unhinged woman vlog in my opinion, but I think I'm going to commit to this. I think this is the one that I'm going to start tonight. I am really excited about it after I watch my shows. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to dig into this one, kind of give my brain a break from All's Well, unless I decide that I really want to read the play. We are looking at, I think, essentially a 100-degree day tomorrow. And so it's going to be very, very hot. Speaking of being unhinged, I ordered pumpkin spice syrup to make my own pumpkin spice lattes. Okay, I don't care. I don't care anymore if it's 100 degrees. If you want it to be autumn, it's autumn year round. If you have to listen to Christmas music in March to get through the year, you do it. Anything that makes you happy at this point, I really have no judgment for. Just get out there and do it. So I am going to try to attempt to make a pumpkin spice latte tomorrow. Probably an iced one because it's going to be so hot. But I think that's what I'm going to do. That's kind of my plan for tomorrow. And also to just stay inside with the drapes closed because, oh my gosh, I can't believe how hot it has been. So it's a good weekend, I think, to stay in and read. And I'm actually currently watching 3 shows, speaking of being unhinged, but I am really enjoying all of them. So I'm watching Shetland on BritBox. This has been a weeks-long event. I am in season 6 of Shetland, and there are 7 seasons, and love it. Absolutely love it. This is a crime drama that's set in the Shetland Islands of Scotland. Incredible, gorgeous scenery. That's basically all I have to say here, because honestly, I wish I was there. Every time I watch it, I'm a little bit depressed that I don't live on Shetland. Though the tone of the show is very bleak, and the tone of like everyone living there is that it's a very bleak place. So I don't know, but I personally feel like I would really love it. The K-drama that I'm watching is Behind Your Touch, I think is the name of it. And this is a silly, fun drama that is coming out week to week. And I really just wanted to get caught up on it so that I could watch the episodes as they come out every Saturday and Sunday. It's on Netflix. And it's about a girl who is a vet and she has the power to like see a memory if she literally touches your behind, okay? And so she normally uses this on animals because she's a vet, but she's gonna get involved with crime in the small town and like help the detectives solve crime. I know it sounds ridiculous. I am watching it exclusively because my alt bias in K-pop, Suho, is in this show. So I'm really watching it for him. He's an angel, and I feel like he might be a villain in this show, and I can't wait to see it. So I am looking forward to getting caught up with that because K-dramas are like 16 episodes long. All the episodes are like an hour and 20 minutes. So I don't want to be overwhelmed. I don't want to have to wait until the end and then have to watch 16 1 hour and 15 minute episodes. I mean, that's overwhelming to me just to think about it, but I probably would remember it better. But the other show that I'm watching, I'm rewatching Ragnarok, which is also on Netflix. This is one of my favorite shows Netflix has ever done. It's a Norwegian show where people in this small town have been given the powers of the Norse gods. I feel like this sums me up. All three shows that I'm watching right now, just a span of what I'm interested in. The third and final season just came out. I love this show. It's basically my favorite show that Netflix has ever done. I just truly love it. I love the characterization. Norway is really killing it. To me, Norwegian actors are some of the best we have. Every time I watch a Norwegian show, I'm just lost in it because everyone acts so completely natural. It's incredible to me, honestly. I love Norwegian television. So I have a lot of options for what I can watch tonight. So I'm thinking I'm gonna go with Shetland. XO is also having their show right now. They have a variety show where they go on vacation. That's also on right now. So I guess I'm watching 4 shows. I mean, talk about being unhinged. That's where I'm at. My mind is all over the place, but that's where things are at right now. So I'll check in with you later. I promise you it is an entirely different day. I promise you it is. I realize that I look the literal exact same, but it has been a weekend that I feel like I have spent in a fugue state, and I feel like nothing has gotten accomplished. I did spend 2 hours of my life yesterday in Walmart. Could have done a grocery haul with y'all. Maybe that would have been exciting. But the pumpkin spice latte was not achieved yesterday, basically because it really was the hottest day of the year, in my opinion. And it was just terrible inside. I can't really imagine what it was like outside, but even when we went to Walmart, I was like, it's too hot for me to be out here. I am wilting like a little flower. I did watch 65 last night with Adam Driver in it because I saw that it was on Netflix and I love him. I realize now this vlog is turning into what I'm watching. Apparently I am all over the board right now, but this is about like a guy crash landing on Earth 65 million years ago. So there are dinosaurs. My feelings on this were just okay. You know, I love Adam Driver. I will literally watch him do anything, so it doesn't matter. The fact that I was able to sit through that last Duel movie for him, where I had to watch a scene of assault take place 3 different times from 3 different angles, that says a lot about how committed I am to loving him as an actor. But this one was not that great. It also wasn't bad, but I can see why it didn't take off. But there was a dinosaur in this that I had never heard of before, and now the name of it has escaped me. It was like Pitapil or something like that, and they were small dinosaurs that would get to be the size of a dog. I had never heard of them before, but I am obsessed with them now. I have a new favorite dinosaur. That's my new favorite dinosaur. Anyway, from all that, you can probably tell that not a lot of reading got done yesterday. I think those of you who have read my year of rest and relaxation probably would have told me in my first clip that if I was feeling down, this is maybe not the book to read. And I discovered that to my own detriment. I got a couple of chapters in on this, and I honestly just felt like my mood got lower. And that's saying something because I didn't really feel like I was in that great of a mood to begin with. So this is one I decided I just needed to put down for the time being. I was really enjoying the writing of it, but the main character is just so awful that I really did not want to spend any amount of time with her right now. And it's funny because normally that doesn't bother me. And in fact, sometimes I really enjoy that if the main character is really unlikable. But this was just off-putting to me. And to me, the tone was just so depressing. This is about a woman who essentially decides to do nothing for an entire year. And she decides this in the year 2000. And she's rich, she saved up some money, so really she doesn't have to work. But on the back of the book, it says it's the year 2000 and the world's greatest city, New York City, aglitter with wealth and possibility. What could be so terribly wrong? And so to me, like the cloud over the whole book is 9/11. I feel like that's what the back of the book is hinting at. So I really don't know. In many ways, it also felt like 2 chapters in, the book didn't have a point, but the main character was just so awful. I think I'm just doing myself a favor. I'm putting this one down, but I did something bad. And I did get a couple of books. I ordered a couple of books. And so when they come in, I'll show them to you. We can do a little haul because all's well. I am obsessed. I am obsessed with this book. Genuinely, I couldn't love it more. I mean, it's one of the weirdest books I've ever read. I want to get that straight right off the bat. This book is bizarre. Like, it's really weird. Things that are going on in it objectively don't make sense. There's kind of an element of like magical realism to it, or just in general, you wondering, are these things really occurring in the way that the main character describes them to you? And I think that's really, really fun. I have to say, I feel like y'all are going to judge me for this. If you have read this book, I think you're going to judge me, but I kind of love the main character and I kind of want her to succeed. A lot of times in these like unhinged women books, I do kind of root for the main character just because I am enjoying the story, but to me, the main character of this book has a real point. And that is going to be something that I guess will be revealed to me as the book goes on, as I get ready to finish the book, because I do have a little voice in the back of my head that says, maybe this isn't really happening in the way that she has described it to me. And so I'm excited, but right now, like from her perspective, living inside her head, she is definitely surrounded by a lot of really terrible people. I think a lot of what this book has had to say about chronic illness has been very interesting specifically. And I personally think it has been very, very smart, and it's been very realistic. And I think that's probably why I feel for her so much, is that essentially everyone around her has ignored the fact that she says she's in pain, but also people just kind of believe that she could get better if she willed herself to do it. And that is something her friends, her so-called friends, have said to her, not just medical professionals, which I think is bad enough. Somebody you've gone to with an actual legitimate problem is telling you that it's all in your head. And there's just this through line of how her life parallels All's Well That Ends Well by Shakespeare. I didn't pick that up. I actually feel like I am enjoying the book more because I am learning about the play through this book. And I feel like her perception of the play is really off, but I think I'm really enjoying the book and I'm really enjoying her characterization because of that. So I kind of don't really want to know what actually goes down in the play. I think I am enjoying this so much because I don't actually know what's going on in it. Apparently one of the big events in All's Well is that the King of France is really ailing, and the main character Helen says, I can help you. And he's like, well, you know, you can try. If you fail, I'll kill you. And the main character talks about the fact that she's been in pain basically at that level, kind of wanting to die essentially from it. And when she tries a different doctor, she tries a different therapist, they still ask her for the money. They still get paid. She doesn't get to say, well, this is your only chance. If you don't do this, then I'm never dealing with you again, or you should die if you can't help me, which I think is kind of where her mind is at. She is unhinged. She's unstable. But I tell you what, I am enjoying it. It's been a wild ride so far, and I just am absolutely loving it. But that's kind of what's currently going on. So I will check in with you later. experience for you, some of which are good, some of which are bad. The good is that I finished All's Well by Mona Awad. The books that I ordered came in. The bad has literally nothing to do with reading, but I had literally the worst experience of my life in a nail salon, and y'all are kind of a captive audience for me, but literally I was doing S&S. I've been doing S&S for about a year now, and I just kind of wanted to give my nails a break. I just thought here at the end of the year, I probably really wanted to have my nails done like in October, November, December, just because of the holiday season, fall, Halloween, stuff like that. I felt like I would really want my nails to be done. So I thought if I was going to take a break at any time, it would be now. And I was told basically you should go to the salon to get them to take it off because they could do it in such a way that it wouldn't damage your nail the way that it would at home. I had literally the worst experience in my life. And I want to say, like, not to be dramatic, but frankly, I'm not being dramatic. It really was literally the worst experience I have ever had at a nail salon. In fact, I'll never go back there again. And in fact, now I'm kind of thinking I won't go to a nail salon again. I just won't get my nails done professionally anymore. They put me with a tech who was just like straight up rude. First of all, I think it was clearly beneath him to just take the S&S off. And so what he did was he took the edge of an acrylic tip, a nail tip that was a square acrylic tip, and he dug the S&S, like pulled the S&S off my nail, ripped off the top layer of my nail. When I questioned that, he just like moved on. He was like, oh no, this is what we do when you're not getting service. Like, okay, that's on me. And the worst part of it is that he literally ripped off one of my real nails, which you can't see and it doesn't look that bad, but he literally ripped the actual nail. And I'm telling him, like, that's my actual nail. Like, that's not the S&S. That is not the polish you're pulling on. You are literally pulling on my fingernail, and it ripped. Blood was everywhere. He did finally apologize for that, and that finally kind of cowed him, but oh my gosh, like I was kind of shaky when I got out of there. Like that was just one of the wildest experiences I've ever had. And now my nails are in really bad shape. Frankly, I could have done that at home with a butter knife. If I wanted to rip it off, I would have done that myself. I went to the salon because I thought you would take care of my nails. I don't know, this is a weird interlude. All this to say, I had to do some retail therapy. After that, I went over to Barnes & Noble afterwards. And so I did order 2 books, and then I went to Barnes & Noble after that wild experience, and I bought 3 more. It's okay. You know, sometimes we have to do this for ourselves. At any rate, to get back to what we're all here for, this has been such a weird vlog, I feel like, all over the place. I did finish All's Well by Mona Awad. I loved this. I gave this 4 stars. And I wanted to give it 5. Like there were parts of me that thought this was going to be a 5-star book. The ending really let this one down for me. Given the strange and kind of bizarre tone that the rest of the novel had, you probably knew that it was going to build into something really strange. And that's definitely what occurred, certainly. And to me, it really was kind of weird given the rest of the book. I think if you're going into this book looking for answers or looking to kind of have the plot propel you forward, it's interesting because the plot is compelling and you're definitely trying to figure out what's going on. But then by the end, you, alongside the main character, are kind of left to wonder, did this mean anything? And frankly, what the point of some of the book was. For me, it really doesn't matter because the ride was so fun. And I think there was just a weird quality to the book overall. So I felt like I knew the resolution would probably not be clear, but also probably wouldn't be satisfactory to me. And I think a lot of people judge this against her other book, Bunny, which we're gonna talk about. And a lot of people really love Bunny, and they were really disappointed by All's Well, and I think it's vice versa. It seems like you like one of her books and you don't really care for the other. But All's Well was apparently a pretty big disappointment to folks who just absolutely loved Bunny. And so I think that's interesting. It leads me to have a lot of questions about Bunny and the concept of Bunny And I know now probably that Bunny has a very clear, definite ending, but I did really like that some of the things we were waiting to figure out, some of the things that were left up in the air, they had to do with whether she would get away with this or not. Because the part of me that's always been schooled into thinking there has to be a moral of the story, there has to be consequences for your actions. At the end of the book, you're still going to pay for what happens. I didn't want her to. And I'm kind of tired of that at this point. I mean, frankly, I think we all know right from wrong. And sometimes we're reading books like this one in particular just to kind of be therapeutic or cathartic. And I think it's better, and I think these stories work better, and they actually are cathartic if the character gets away with it a bit. And so I was really interested to see how this book would tackle that, because certainly some crazy things happened, like unbelievable things happened, and people accused her of it. And I thought it was just wild. I mean, there was an anxiety-inducing quality to the back half where you thought somebody's going to finally believe that she's done all this weird stuff. And there was also a stream of consciousness style to some of the prose where it genuinely felt like we were living inside her mind and we were moving from thought to thought the way that you naturally do. I thought that was brilliant. I actually thought the writing of this was really well done. And more than that, that the main character, I will say the side characters didn't stand out that much to me, but to me, the main character was so clearly a fully formed character in the author's mind. She really felt like a real person. And I think we were given that by kind of living in her head stream of consciousness style. I think in certain circumstances, it's a style that a story really needs. Now, normally I would say I probably am not a stream of consciousness girly. That's just not something that works well for me, but it really did here. I think it really aided this narrative. I loved this. And so I'm kind of worried about Bunny. Bunny is one of the books that I ordered. Now to get into my book haul, which is probably more exciting than the rest of the vlog, frankly. It kind of is to me. But I did pick up Bunny. I just did recently a video about dark academia that is on my TBR. And I thought I owned this already. I actually thought I had an ebook copy of this. But when I was looking the other day, I absolutely did not ever pick this up on ebook, so I don't know when I hallucinated that. So I decided to pick up a physical copy because, frankly, the physical copy was cheaper than the ebook edition. We can get into that one day. I am blown away by the prices of ebooks, honestly. So I thought I could wait around, wait for this to go on a Kindle Daily Deal, or I could just go on and pick it up. I felt like I wanted to move into this one pretty immediately. I'm shocked that this is not the one that I have automatically picked up, but I'm really excited about this. I think there's going to be an interesting vibe to this book that I didn't know was there. I finally heard someone really explain the plot, and it seems to me that this plot has kind of a Frankenstein quality to it. And that really intrigues me. So this one is very high on my TBR. I'm hoping to get through all 5 of these very, very soon. Even though I put down my year of rest and relaxation for just a little bit, I just wasn't in the mood for it. I decided that I should probably go on and pick up Lapvona. So this is the other book that I ordered. This is set in the medieval period, and apparently it is just completely unhinged and feral. I paid attention to early reviews of this, especially when it came out. I was really interested in people doing reading vlogs on this. It was really compelling to me to see how people engaged with this book, even though I hadn't read it. And so I feel like I probably know where this book is going. And I think I also know the larger themes that are present in it, but I'm still really excited about it. And frankly, it's been such a long time since this book came out. I've probably forgotten everything I ever knew. So I'm excited about this one. This is also really high on my TBR, but after my scarring Salon experience, I went to Barnes & Noble and I was like, I just need something comforting. I just need something fantasy right now. So I picked up A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. I have started this and frankly, I'm loving it. Who am I? Because some of y'all may know, if you've been around a long time, I've really struggled with Naomi Novik in the past. I actually have not liked anything I have ever read from her. And so I felt like I was going out on a limb here. But since this trilogy has ended, I have heard essentially nothing but positive things about it. So I decided I would give it a go. It's dark academia, but it also is very cozy in a way to me, because this is about a school that's essentially trying to kill the students. Like, graduation is the fact that you survived this school. And so you would think that means there's a lot of high stakes action going on, and definitely scenes have happened where you go, you're on the edge of your seat a little bit, but to me, it doesn't feel necessarily like the stakes are that high, which I think is kind of refreshing, all things considered. And that's kind of what makes it feel cozy to me. Also, the fact that it's a school setting and we're going into the autumn. I just think this is the time of year that I'm really attracted to dark academia and that I'm really excited by dark academia. I'm only 60 pages into this, so I know I'm not going to finish it in this vlog, and that's okay. That was on a buy one, get one 50% off table with a couple of other fantasies. So I picked up Vespertine by Margaret Rogerson. This is a standalone fantasy that I think is kind of Italian inspired, which is essentially why I picked it up. But it also seems to be about ghosts, which I think seems really fun. I've liked Margaret Rogerson in the past, and I really appreciate that for the most part what she does is standalone work. In fact, you may also call her writing kind of cozy. I think I would say it's cozy. And when I pick her up, I tend to pick her up in the autumn. So I'm excited about this. I think I'm really going to like it. Of everything out by her, I think this has the potential to be my favorite. So I'm really excited about this one. I think this is one that I'll probably move into very quickly. I think all 5 of these I'm really excited about currently, so my hope is they're not going to stick on the TBR that long. Last but not least is a book that I'm saving for the spooky season, which, if you want to know, is already here. I've already read the majority of the books that were on my Halloween TBR. It's sad to say. I broke down and essentially read all of the horror that I had in July and August. I just had a breakdown. I needed it to be spooky in the summer this year. So I did need something new on my TBR. That was really why I needed to go to Barnes & Noble. This was a need, not a want. And that is Slewfoot by Brom. Did I pick this up? Because I love her little feet. Yes, we don't need to talk about it, but that is in fact why I picked the book up. I've also heard this is very witchy and very Salem-like, and frankly, I just like the vibe of the book. It's a square. It's super odd. Look at it compared to this. Like, it's just a really interesting size for a book to be. And I've heard really good things about this one. A lot of people have really liked this, particularly people who, like me, like kind of a weird literary fiction or even a weird horror. I think a lot of people have really taken to this, so that encourages me. I love horror, but I don't necessarily like to be scared. And so for me, supernatural horror works so much better than anything that's happening in the real world. I'm just not a gore fan, frankly. I think that's a lot of my issue. So I don't know if this is going to be gory or not, but oh, look at the illustrations. Look at her there. Can you tell that I had a crush on Mr. Tumnus as a child? I need to interrogate that one day, probably with a therapist. This is my little book haul. I feel like I'm all over the place. This felt like an unhinged vlog, truly. I felt unhinged during it. So this has been a very wild week, all told, and I think I'm going to wrap up the vlog here because we are about to move into Labor Day, the holiday weekend, and I think maybe I'll start another vlog. We'll see. But I am currently reading A Deadly Education, and I am really, really enjoying it. I'm trying to read basically everything that I wanted to read in the autumn in the month of September because I know October is Victober. November is always just a busy time for me. And I almost in November have kind of moved on to Christmas. Isn't that sad? So I feel like it's crunch time for me to get through like all of my spooky TBR, all of my dark academia TBR. I feel like September has got to be the time for that. So that's going to be all from me in this vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. I would love to know down below if you have read any of these books, what you're currently watching. Just let me know what's going on in your life. What are you currently cooking? Because I feel like this vlog was just kind of all over the place. It was a little bit more day in the life, I feel, than most of my vlogs have been. But I still hope you enjoyed it. But that's going to be all for me today. I hope you're all having a great week. Happy reading. Goodbye.